Please help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel Painful Promises. Your support means a lot. Like, share, and turn on the notification bell. Enjoy the video. The first message came 5 hours after my wedding ended. 5 hours. That's how long it took for everything I thought I had just built to start falling apart. I was still in my suit when my phone buzzed. The room smelled faintly of flowers and perfume, the kind that lingers after a long day. My wife, was in the bathroom, humming softly as she removed her makeup. I remember staring at the word wife in my head. It still felt unreal. Then I opened the message. I'm sorry about what happened today. Your parents didn't deserve that. It was from an unknown number. I frowned. What happened today? At first, I thought it was just someone being overly dramatic. Weddings are messy. People exaggerate. Someone always feels slighted. But then another message came. You should ask your wife what her parents said before the reception started. My chest tightened. I looked toward the bathroom door. The sound of running water covered everything. And for the first time that day, I felt something wasn't right. The day that didn't feel like mine. I should have noticed it earlier. That's what kept replaying in my mind later. The small moments I brushed off, the strange looks, the tension I told myself was just wedding stress. The morning had started perfectly. My mother had been nervous, fixing her dupatta, smoothing her hair over and over again. My father stood quietly beside her, adjusting his watch like he always did when he didn't know what to say. They weren't flashy people. Simple, dignified, proud. And I was proud of them. I remember telling my mom, "You look beautiful." Her eyes watered immediately. "Don't make me cry before the wedding," she laughed. I hugged her. And for a moment, everything felt right. The first crack. It happened during the arrival. My wife's family arrived like a procession. Cars, noise, laughter, cameras flashing. They were different from us. Louder, richer, more visible. I didn't mind that. I had known it from the beginning. My wife, Alina, had grown up in a world that was more polished than mine. But she had always told me it didn't matter. "It's you I chose," she used to say. And I believed her. But that day, I noticed how her mother barely looked at mine. How her father shook my dad's hand like it was a formality. How their smiles felt rehearsed. I told myself I was imagining it. I wanted to believe I was. The whisper I ignored. Right before the ceremony, I stepped outside for a moment to breathe. That's when I heard it. 2 of Alina's relatives standing near the entrance. I still don't understand why she chose him. Love, I guess. Or maybe she just wanted to prove a point. A quiet laugh followed. I stood there, frozen. For a second, I thought about walking up to them. Saying something. Anything. But then I didn't. Because I didn't want to start my wedding with conflict. So I swallowed it. Like it didn't matter. Like it wouldn't come back later. The moment I missed. The ceremony itself was beautiful. At least, on the surface. Alina looked stunning. When she walked toward me, everything else faded. For a moment, I forgot the whispers, the tension, the strange looks. It was just us. Just like it had always been. She smiled at me. And I smiled back. But now, when I replay that moment, I notice something I didn't see before. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. The reception. If the ceremony was a performance, the reception was where the cracks widened. I noticed my parents sitting slightly off to the side. Not in the center where they should have been. Not where her parents were. I frowned. Went over to them. "Why are you sitting here?" I asked. My father smiled. "It's fine, son." My mother nodded quickly. "We're comfortable here." But they didn't look comfortable. They looked careful. Like they didn't want to take up space. That bothered me. More than I wanted to admit. The speech that changed everything. Then came the speeches. Alina's father stood up first. Confident. Charming. The kind of man who knew how to control a room. He started well. Talked about his daughter. Her childhood. Her achievements. Everyone laughed at the right moments. Then his tone shifted. Subtly. "So when Alina told us about her choice," he said, glancing at me, "we were surprised." A few chuckles. My stomach tightened. "But love," he continued, "isn't always about matching backgrounds, is it?" More laughter. Louder this time. I felt heat rise in my face. He raised his glass. "To compromise, and to unexpected choices." The room clapped. Some people laughed. And in that moment, I saw my father's face. Still. Quiet. Trying not to show anything. My mother looked down at her hands. And something inside me broke. The aftermath no one saw. No one made a scene. No one called it out. Because that's how these things happen. Quietly. Publicly. In a way that can always be dismissed as a joke. But it wasn't a joke. Not to me. Not to my parents. I wanted to say something. Stand up. Defend them. But I didn't. Because I didn't want to ruin the day. Because I thought, I'll deal with it later. Back to the message. Now, sitting in that hotel room hours later, that message made sense. Too much sense. I typed back. "What exactly happened?" The reply came after a minute. "Ask her about the conversation her parents had before the ceremony." With your parents. My heart started pounding. Because I hadn't seen that. No one had told me. I looked at the bathroom door again. The water had stopped. And suddenly, I wasn't sure I knew the woman inside anymore. The question. When Alina came out, she was smiling. Relaxed. Happy. "How was today?" she asked. I stared at her. For a long moment. Then I said quietly, "What did your parents say to mine before the ceremony?" Her smile faded. Just slightly. "What do you mean?" "Don't," I said. "Please don't pretend." Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. She looked away first. "It was nothing," she said. That word again. Nothing. I felt something twist in my chest. Then why does it feel like something? The truth slips out. She sat down slowly, avoiding my eyes. "They didn't mean it like that," she said. "Like what?" Another pause. Then, quietly, "They were just worried." About what? She hesitated. And in that hesitation, I knew. But I needed to hear it. About our differences. I laughed. But there was no humor in it. "So they humiliated my parents." "They didn't humiliate them." I saw my father's face. I cut in. "Don't tell me they didn't." She looked at me then. Really looked at me. And for a second, I saw guilt. The hidden conversation. It came out slowly. Piece by piece. Her parents had pulled mine aside before the ceremony. Spoken to them privately. Not to welcome them. Not to build a relationship. But to set expectations. To remind them of the gap. To make it clear that their daughter was used to a certain lifestyle. That adjustments would be necessary. That they hoped my parents understood their place. My hands clenched. "They said that." Alina nodded. "They thought it was being honest." "Honest?" I repeated. My voice shook. "That's what you call it." The betrayal that hurt more. "What hurts the most," I said slowly, "is that you knew." She didn't answer. "You knew, and you still let it happen." "I didn't think it would be this bad," she said quietly. "You didn't think—" I snapped. "Or you didn't care. That's not fair. Neither was what they did." Silence filled the room again. Thick. Suffocating. And for the first time since the wedding, I felt like I was standing on opposite sides of something with my own wife. The shift inside me. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept seeing my parents. The way they sat quietly. The way they tried to smile. The way they didn't say anything, even after being disrespected. Because they didn't want to ruin my day. And I realized something that made my chest ache. They had protected me, while I had failed to protect them. The decision. By morning, something had changed. Not loud. Not dramatic. but clear. I couldn't let it go. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed balance, respect, accountability, something. Because if I didn't do anything, then what happened would become normal, acceptable, and I couldn't live with that. The plan begins. I didn't confront her parents immediately. I didn't yell, didn't create a scene. Instead, I waited, watched, listened, and slowly, I started putting things in place. Because if they thought they could humiliate my family without consequence, they were about to learn something different. The backfire they never expected. It didn't happen overnight. But when it did, it was quiet, precise, and impossible to ignore. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult them. I didn't stoop to their level. I did something worse. I made them see, clearly, publicly, and without escape, exactly what they had done. The confrontation they couldn't laugh off. Weeks later, during a family gathering, I stood up, calm, steady, and I spoke. Not with anger, but with truth. I told the story. Not exaggerated, not dramatized, just honest. Every word they had said, every look they had given, every moment my parents had endured in silence. The room went quiet. No laughter this time. No polite smiles. Just reality. And for the first time, they didn't have control of the narrative. The silence that followed. Her father tried to respond, to explain, to soften it. But it didn't work. Because now, everyone could see it. Not as a joke. Not as honesty. But as what it really was. Disrespect. The cost. It wasn't easy. Nothing about it was. My relationship with Alina changed. We had long conversations. Difficult ones. About boundaries. About respect. About what it means to stand beside someone, not above them. She cried. She apologized. She tried to understand. And slowly, I saw something shift in her too. The ending. I didn't destroy her parents. That was never the goal. But I made sure they would never forget that day. Not the wedding, but the moment they realized that respect isn't optional, and neither is dignity. As for me, I learned something I wish I had known earlier. Love isn't just about choosing someone. It's about choosing to protect what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially then. If you made it this far, tell me honestly, would you have done the same? And don't forget to subscribe.